What's going on, guys? Kaiser here from keyserreveal, and today we'll be taking a look at the Mavic 2 Pro. Now this won't be a full review, this will be a quick unboxing and a look at the image and video quality of this new 1-inch co-engineered Hasselblad camera. I'll also leave a link below so that you guys can download the sample footage from this camera. With that said, let's get to it. Inside the box, you have a Lightning, a standard and micro USB, and a USB Type-C connector and adapter, a power cable, a battery charger, the remote controller, a couple of quick start guides and a DJI care card, props to include spares, and the Mavic 2 Pro. Now this new co-engineered 28mm 20 megapixel Hasselblad camera has a 1-inch sensor that can shoot up to 4K 30 frames per second, 100 megabits per second full FOV, cropped 4K HQ, and up to 120 frames per second in 1080p. This camera also has a pretty impressive 14 stops of dynamic range and uses H.265 codec, giving you more latitude in post. Also, in addition to shooting in normal mode, you can now shoot in HLG, which is HDR, or log at 10-bit. Now outside of having a larger sensor, I really like having the ability to adjust the aperture. But even with stopping your aperture down to f11, you're still going to need an ND filter when shooting pretty much any time outside of twilight hours or overcast days. So because the ND filters were out of stock when I picked this up, you're going to notice that some of these shots are overexposed. Now you do have a little wiggle room by increasing your shutter speed, but you don't want to stray too far outside of that 180-degree rule because this will result in choppy footage. Now because I downscaled this footage to 1080p, I left a link below so that you guys can download the 4K footage and see what it looks like uncompressed. Alright, so that's a quick look at the image and video quality from this camera. Now for me, coming from the Phantom Pro 3, this is definitely an improvement. Now that doesn't mean that this camera is perfect. One of the common problems that you'll run into with a wide-angle lens is distortion, and this camera is no different. If you look here, you can see that the edge of this building is bending. This footage was shot in 4K FOV. Now I'm not certain if this distortion is limited to this mode, but I haven't noticed it in any other clips. Now whether you know it or not, this is a pretty common problem, so much so that Premiere Pro actually has pre-built presets to fix this. So if you open Premiere Pro, go to Effects, and type Lens Distortion in the search, you'll see a bunch of lens distortion removal presets for the Inspire 1, the Phantom 2, Phantom 3, and even the GoPro. Now there's not one for the Mavic 2 Pro yet, but you can easily create one by scrolling down, selecting lens distortion, drag it onto your clip, and set the curvature to whatever looks best to you. I'm using -10. Now to save this as a preset, highlight lens distortion, right click, select save preset, name it. I'll name mine Mavic 2 Pro 4K and click OK. Now I named this Mavic 2 Pro 4K because the curvature setting may be different if the shot that you're trying to fix was shot in 1080p or 2K. So in that case, you want to create a different preset for those. Now even though this is easily fixed, the thing that sucks is that it crops your footage, so that's something you want to be aware of. As for D-Log-M, unlike most log footage, I didn't have to overexpose to get a clean shot. Now there is still some visible noise in the shadows prior to grading if you zoom in about 400%, but I got those exact same results when I overexposed. As for low light performance, this is a larger sensor, so naturally it performs better. However, it's still a 1-inch sensor, so just like any other sensor, whether smaller or larger, you're still going to need some source of light. Now as impressive as it may seem to be able to see details in the shadows, a lot of times it's unrealistic and unnecessary. For example, for this shot, my focus or subject was the cityscape. So as long as I can clearly make out what the subject is, then I really don't care about being able to see branches or trees or any other details in the shadows. Because for one, it's not the most relevant part of the shot. And two, when I look at this outside of the camera, I can't see those details anyway. And three, that's where all of your noise lives. So the trade-off was being able to keep my ISO low, which reduced noise and resulted in a cleaner shot. and any noise left after that was cleaned up in post by bumping up my blacks. But anyway, that's a quick look at the camera on the Mavic 2 Pro. Now I'll be breaking this review down into sections, so if there's something in particular that you want to see, leave a comment below. And as always, if you guys enjoy this content, be sure to hit that like button and definitely subscribe. So until next time, peace.